bhāgavata-sevayā. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. Aradhayo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. Viramya Kachitupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Va Kalpita. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam pramanamamalam prema pumartho mahan. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu matamidam tatradhara naparaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Śrī Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. Baldev Prabhu, Philip Prabhu, and Veena Mataji, thank you. Very happy to see you. And Vijaya Mataji also joined. Hare Krishna. We are reading Canto 10 of Srimad-Bhāgavatam, chapter 22, entitled Krishna Steals the Gopis' Garments. So we read the first 3 verses yesterday, discussing about when this pastime was happening and what the gopis, how they were performing this vrata, that is taking bath early in the cold Yamuna water, and in the very early, the first light of the sun, or the Aruna Daya, prior to sunrise, in the cold month of November, December in Vrindavan. So they were doing this austerity, and they also were doing deity worship to Mother Katyayani or Durga. Now let's go to the next verse, which is text number 4, and understand why they were doing that vrata. So that is what we're going to read today, text number 4 onwards. Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayogini Adhishvari Nandagopa Sutam Devi Patim Me Kurute Namaha Iti Mantram Japantyasta Pujam Chakru Kumarika. Wow. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace. Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrī Prabhupada Ki Jai, Śrī Prabhupada disciples Ki Jai. Each of the young unmarried girls performed her worship while chanting the following mantra. O Goddess Katyayani, O great potency of the Lord, O possessor of great mystic power, and mighty controller of all, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. I offer my obeisance unto you. Purport. According to the various acharyas, the goddess Durga mentioned in this verse is not the illusory energy of Krishna called Maya, but rather the internal potency of the Lord known as Yogamaya. The distinction between the internal and the external, or the illusory potency of the Lord, is described in Narada Pancharatra in the conversation between Shruti and Vidya. Janati eka parakantam shaiva durga tadatmika Ya para parama shaktir Mahavishnu Swarupini Yasya Vijnana Matrena Paramam Paranam Paramatmanah Mahurtadeva Devasya Praptir Bhavati Nanyatha Ekeyam Prema Sarvasva Swabhava Gokuleshwari Anayasu Labhogyeya Adidevo Akhileshwaraha Asya Avarika Shaktir Mahamaya Khileshwari Yaya Mugdam Jagat Sarvam Sarve Deha Bhimaninaha. The Lord's inferior potency is known as Durga, is dedicated to his loving service. Being the Lord's potency, this inferior energy is non-different from him. There is another superior potency whose form is on the same spiritual level as that of God himself. Simply by scientifically understanding this supreme potency, one can immediately achieve the supreme soul of all souls, who is the Lord of all lords. There is no other process to achieve him. That supreme potency of the Lord is known as Gokuleshwari, the goddess of Gokula. Her nature is to be completely absorbed in love of God. And through her, one can easily obtain the primeval Lord, the Lord of all that be. This internal potency of the Lord has a covering potency known as Mahamaya, who rules the material world. In fact, she bewilders the entire universe, and thus everyone within the universe falsely identifies himself with the material body. It's a long purport, so I'll pause here. So maybe one or two other devotees can also read. And maybe we'll have some discussion after the purport is completed. So if you are in a position to read and you didn't get a chance yesterday, please, it's a good time if you would like to read. Yes, Philip, Prabhu.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. From the above, we can understand that the internal and external, or superior and inferior, potencies of the Supreme Lord are personified as Yogamaya and Mahamaya, respectively. The name Durga is sometimes used to refer to the internal superior potency, as stated in the Pancharatra. In all mantras used to worship Krishna, the presiding deity is known as Durga. Thus, in the transcendental sound vibrations glorifying and worshipping the absolute truth, Krishna, the presiding deity of the particular mantra or hymn is called Durga. The name Durga therefore refers also to that personality who functions as the internal potency of the Lord, and who is thus on the platform of Suddha Sattva, pure transcendental existence. This internal potency is understood to be Krishna's sister, known as Ekanamsha or Subhadra. This is the Durga who was worshipped by the gopis in Vrindavana. Several acharyas have pointed out that ordinary people are sometimes bewildered and think that the names Mahamaya and Durga refer exclusively to the external potency of the Lord. Even if we, or should I continue or someone else read?
You can continue.
Okay. Even if we accept hypothetically that the gopis were worshipping the external Maya, there is no fault on their part, since in their pastimes of loving Krishna, they were acting as ordinary members of society. Srila Prabhupada comments in this regard, the Vaishnavas generally do not worship any demigods. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakura has strictly forbidden all worship of the demigods for anyone who wants to advance in pure devotional service. Yet the gopis, who are beyond compare in their affection for Krishna, were seen to worship Durga. The worshippers of demigods also sometimes mention that the gopis worshipped goddess Durga. But we must understand the purpose of the gopis. Generally, people worship the goddess Durga for some material benediction. Here, the gopis prayed to the goddess to become wives of Lord Krishna. The purport is that if Krishna is the center of activity, a devotee can adopt any means to achieve that goal. The gopis could adopt any means to satisfy or serve Krishna. That was the super excellent characteristic of the gopis. They worshipped goddess Durga completely for 1 month in order to have Krishna as their husband. Every day they prayed for Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaja, to become their husband. The conclusion is that a sincere devotee of Krishna will never imagine any material quality to exist in the transcendental gopis, who are the most exalted devotees of the Lord. The only motivation in all their activities was simply to love and satisfy Krishna, and if we foolishly consider their activities to be mundane in any way, it will be impossible for us to understand Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Back to you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Wow, there is a lot here, right? There is a lot. Let's try to assimilate what we read. So, in this verse, we read about primarily 2 energies of Krishna. I'll share the screen. So, what are the 2 energies? You'll help me. What we read in this verse.
Yoga Maya and Mahamaya.
Very nice. This was your first time, right? Knowing this concept?
Yes, first time for lots of things in that purport.
But you got it very well, Prabhu. Yogamaya, also known as internal energy. Antaranga, internal, right? And what is the other one? Mahamaya, also known as external energy, right? And then there is a Tathastha Shakti or marginal potency where the jivas are. But for this discussion, we'll not cover that since we're talking more here about. But there's an internal energy, there's a marginal potency also between the two, which is where the jivas fall in that category. Now, the beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which says, Mahatmanastu mam partha devi prakritim ashrita. Devi, or means internal energy, again, transcendental energy, whatever you make a superior energy, inferior energy. There are multiple names, but they were referring to the same thing. Superior energy, inferior energy, transcendental energy. So there is no question of material qualities here. Everyone is serving Krishna in one way, but we are serving those who are not aware of this principle. Actually, they are under the grip of the Mahamaya. So, but here we are talking about gopis. So in this case, Durga, Katyayani, Shuddha Sattva, various terms are used. Krishna's sister, non-different from Krishna, so they're serving her. The gopis are not serving the external energy because they are pure devotees. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, maybe we can read that verse also, since it's an important verse. Mahatmanas to Mom. Yes, I got that verse 9.13. Would someone like to read this verse and translation, please? Yes, Sudhir.
I guess.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandat Pranam. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti mahashrita bhajanti ananya manaso natva bhuta divavyana natva bhuta divavyayam. Sorry, Prabhuji. O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very well. Those basically, those great souls, those Mahatmas and Gopis, certainly. Mahatma doesn't refer to only male. Mahatmas means those who are great soul. Mahan Atma. Maha means great. Atma means soul. Those great devotees, those great souls, those self-realized souls who are under the protection of divine, Devim Prakriti, or internal energy. They are, whatever they do is for the, under the Krishna's divine internal energy. Their anger is also transcendental, like Prabhupada's, like the gopis. They would get angry sometimes, but it was for transcendental reasons. Anything they do, it is transcendental, because there is no question of, as we read in the last line of this purport, very, very important. If we foolishly consider their activities to be mundane in any way, and that applies to any great soul, if we consider the activities of great souls, the spiritual master, those self-realized souls, to be mundane in any way, and this is very important, because we may see, oh, he also has two hands, I also have two hands. Oh, he also eats, I also eat. Maybe we two are almost the same. He has a little more followers, or like maybe he gives a better class, but we are almost the same. Then it is a big offense. Then it will be impossible for us to understand Krishna consciousness. So we should never consider great souls to, they may fly in the airplane, they may travel in the car, they may eat the same foodstuffs which we may be eating, roti, sabji, dal, rice, etc. They may, sometimes get like disease, like things like that. They may, but we should never consider them or any of those activities to be mundane. Very, very important. It is a big fall down. It is a big offense to consider the activities of great soul, and especially the gopis here, who are like Krishna's, topmost servants. Gopir Bharat, Lord Chaitanya says this, Gopir Bharatur Padi Kamale, or Das Ananda. I want the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of gopis. Uddhava came to Vrindavan and he said, I want to be a Gulmlata. And when you go to the Parikrama for Govardhan Parikrama, there's a beautiful temple called, a beautiful place called Uddhav Kund. And Uddhav became a Gulmlata, a creeper, so that the gopis, when they walk in the Govardhan area, their dust of the lotus feet could fall upon him. So those great souls are, are praying for this. So in short, we should never consider their activities to be mundane. And they were under the Krishna's internal protection, internal energy. Gopis worship too. They're not worshipping the external energy. Now, as Prabhupada is mentioning and the disciples are mentioning, let's say in some instances, even if Durga is mentioned in the external energy, because she is referred, therefore it's important to understand the context of the verse. Like in some places it's mentioned she's like the jail keeper, but that's not the context here. The context here is more like the internal energy, more like Shuddha Sattva. And there are so many verses quoted in the Shruti and the Vedyas, in the Pancharatta. There are 4 verses quoted also. But just for hypothetical case, as mentioned here, many people worship Durga. In fact, Krishna only blessed Durga that your worship will be more in Kali Yuga than my worship. But she's Krishna's sister. But 99% of those, as mentioned here, approach for some material reasons. So those who worship Durga, 99.9% of those, they want, give me good husband, give me good wife, give me good wealth, give me this, give me that, dhanam dehi, janam dehi, putram dehi, putri dehi, vadu dehi, this dehi, dehi, more dehi, right? And that's what majority do. But okay, for one instance, we say, okay, gopis were worshipping Durga. But what, and so people will say, oh, gopis were also worshipping Durga, so I'm also worshipping. What's the big deal? Okay, then we have to, if we really want to, follow in footsteps, why they were worshipping Durga? They were not worshipping Durga for what these people approach Durga. They were worshipping Durga only for one reason. That is, let's read that in the verse. What's the verse is mentioning? Beautiful Sanskrit verse. Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi. Nanda Gopa Sutta, the child of Nanda Maharaj, O Devi, Patim me kuru te namaha. I offer my obeisance. You give the child of Nanda Maharaj as my husband to me. That is my request. So even if we have to ask something to the demigods, although it's not required, as mentioned by Narottam Das Thakur, but even if someone approaches, then we can say, oh, we should approach for only pure Krishna consciousness, pure bhakti, nothing less. That's what the gopis were approaching. Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi Patim me kurute namaha. Make Krishna as my husband, the child of Nanda Maharaj. So this is the essence of this verse. Any thoughts, additions, anyone would like to add?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. So the what preceding deity, actually what does it mean? My understanding is that, okay, this temple, the preceding deity is Radha Shamusundar. But preceding deity of the month, preceding deity of the mantra, here it said that Krishna mantra, preceding deity is Durga. Actually, what does it mean?
Presiding deity is a very technical question. Like in the Damodar month, we say the presiding deity is Radharani. In the Kartik Damodar month, she's Kartikeya. She is the presiding deity. It's the month of actually Radharani. Presiding deity in the mantra is, let's read that line again. Which paragraph was it?
It is a second paragraph. in the Quran sign, in all mantras used to worship Krishna, the preceding deity is known as Durga.
Right. Yeah, maybe we need to get some little more clarity so I can ask some senior Vaishnavas to explain a little bit more on that.
Sure, Prabhuji.
But
Thank you.
in this case, this is more referred to here. The first case here, Durga is basically Shuddha Sattva and referring to the internal energy. So the internal energy of the Lord is basically non-different from him. That's the context here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
So, Prabhuji is, we know the Abhimanyu, who was Radharani's husband. She also, I mean, his Ishta Devi was also Katyayani. So, is that they all worship Katyayani in the Vrindavan that time? Just asking question.
I don't know. I mean, the gopis certainly worshipped. It's not that they would not go to other temples, or certainly they would also many times say, "Oh, Lord Vishnu saved my child. Oh, Lord Narayan saved my child." So there is absolutely mention of Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, Lord. But as we see here, I think it's more important to, yes, even if they worshipped Durga or Katyayani, it was more on the internal energy level. But in case someone also thinks, oh, they were worshipping Katyayani, even on the external energy, but what were they worshipping for? Did they ask for a bigger house? Did they ask for a bigger, name, fame? No, they asked for Krishna. So that is fine, absolutely. So first of all, they were worshipping as the internal energy, which is non-different from Krishna. And as you have to understand, like Vrindavan is basically a place of, is a topmost rasa. They never considered Krishna as their like master. They would never worship like there's no question of worshipping Krishna there. Even till date, they don't consider Krishna as God. They consider Krishna as their child, or their they consider as their like family member. They were, of course they go to temples, like I'm talking about these days, but their language also, it's that Rajabhasha it's not of awe and reverence towards Krishna. Of course, we cannot imitate that, but their heart, is more of love and devotion and less of awe and reverence, even till date. So we have to always keep that also in mind, that we cannot if we have that idea that they will not worship or do Archa Vigraha to Krishna, because Krishna is present there and they are not thinking Krishna as God, even after his hundreds of Herculean activities. To them, he is their friend. To them, he is their child. To some, he is their lover. To some, he is a child. To some, he is a naughty, coward boy. That's their mood. So they worship others like Vishnu, Narayana, Katyayani, Durga, etc. But for one reason, to get Krishna. Haribol. Again, very elevated topic. I have almost zero knowledge of all these. Whatever little you're trying to read here, understand. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so then we can move on to the next verse, text number 5. Would someone like to read this? Anyone wants to read?
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Dhamma Pranam, all gracious Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 5. Ibam masam vatam cheru kumaro Krishna chetasha bhadra kalim shaman narchur bhuvananda sutapati. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada, His disciples ki joy. Translation. Thus for an entire month the girls carried out their vow and properly worshipped the goddess Bhadra Kali, fully absorbing their minds in Krishna and meditating upon the following thought: may the son of King Nanda become my husband. Here also we see the another manifestation of the Mother Durga is a Bhadra Kali, and as we discussed already, Prabhuji said that here Durga Kali as part of the internal energy, and their worship only to get the Krishna as their husband for the pure devotees of the gopis of Vrindavan. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. What do you think? Is it easy to do anything in a regulated way for a month? That too in the cold winter. So the gopis are showing so many qualities. They're just 10-year-old, 12-year-old girls, very young, unmarried. But you can see so many hidden lessons in this context. The power of determination, the power of vrata. They have taken this vrata, the power of austerity for Krishna. They did not just start it. They for the entire month, evam masam vratam cheru. They executed their vow. So when we take a vow, we should try to, like it should be like a line in the stone, right? It should not be like a line in the sand, right? Line in the sand, gone in few days or a few hours or a few, like one wave of water will come, it will be gone, or someone will just walk past and it will be gone. But vows should be like lines in the stone. Ups and downs come, heat and cold comes, rain and sunshine comes, but the vows should not change. Spiritual vows, very important. In India, Raghukula read Sadachali Jai, Prana Jai, Paravachan Najan. Right? They'll give up their lives, right? These known for Lord Ram and the Raghukula, but they'll not budge from their vow. Once spoken, that's the power of words. These days, oh, who cares? Oh, you said this yesterday. Oh, sorry, I'm changing now. Wow. So they vowed, they executed it. Determination, power of vow, power of austerity, and patience, very, very important. Not just a day, not just a few hours, every day getting up early and bathing and doing all the tantras, mantras, and puja and offering and prayers and whatnot. which shows that we have to show our sincerity to get Krishna. Bhakti is not cheap. What to speak of getting Krishna, who is the Lord and the Master of everything. Even to get anything in this world, is it easy? To get a job or to get a degree, is it very easy? It takes so much time, effort. To get a degree, it takes 3 years for a, like a basic degree, and for a more advanced degree, it may take up to like 10 years or so, right? To get a job, people have to struggle so hard. To get a house, to get a car, to get anything material, one has to do a lot of hard work. So shouldn't we, but when it comes to bhakti, we think, oh, I've been chanting for 2 months or 2 years and still, no, we have to be very patient and keep the endeavor strong. Keep the vrata, as the gopis are showing. So determination, vow, their consciousness, their firm, utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya, patience, that may Krishna be our husband. Meditating upon, meditation. Absorbed in the minds in Krishna. Very important quality. Fully absorbed, not just absorbed. The word used is fully absorbed. Fully absorbed. Wow. Krishna Caitanya. This is how we should aspire to be. Krishna Caitanya. The word comes, Krishna consciousness. What does Krishna consciousness mean? Krishna Caitanya. Yeah, Krishna Bhavnamrita. Krishna Caitanya, Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness means full absorption in Krishna consciousness, or full absorption in Krishna is equivalent to Krishna conscious. If we are Krishna conscious, that means we are conscious of Krishna. If we are fully Krishna conscious, that means we are conscious of Krishna all the times. That means full Krishna conscious. Any other thoughts anyone has in this verse? Any comment? Okay, then we will move on to the next verse. Text 6. Would someone like to read this? Ekant, Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Hare Kṛṣṇa, everyone. Dana Pranam. Krishna Bhagavan. Ushasya uthaya gotrai saver anyonya bhada bhāgavata Krishnam uchair jagur yantyaha kalindyam sanatum avaham. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami devotees, devotees ki jai. Each day they rose at dawn, calling out to one another by name. They all held hands and loudly sang the glories of the Krishna while going to the Kalindi to take their bath. Thank you, Prabhuji. It's quite self-explanatory, I believe, Prabhuji. Since they are at the dawn, they all started to chant the glories of the Lord, and they start to go to Kalindi to the bath. They're, I feel like they're so into Krishna. Like, normally we will sing, at least in the material world, we don't really, or at least I don't sing anything. But and normally people oftentimes people sing movie songs or something, but it's because they are full of into that. But in order to remember the glories of the Lord, it's like unless you have your heart is full of love towards it, the things will not come out so affectionately. So I believe that's what it is going in their hearts, that they're fully affectionate and love towards Krishna, and which is coming out in the form of songs. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please add more, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Very Paul. Thank you. Very nice correlation you mentioned. These days, people are walking or running or are either in a car or in a bus or anywhere they're like traveling. They play Hollywood, Bollywood songs, they talk prajalpa. But what are the gopis doing? So a few lessons here. If we have to do one thing, for a short time, doing alone is easy, right? But if we have to do something consistently, having good association is very, very vital. It's very, very vital. And that's what we see here. It was not just one gopi. There were a group of gopis. There were many gopis together. They were supporting each other by holding hands. Holding hands is a sign of, oh, I'm there for you. You are not alone in this path. Tadabhritya gatra sparsha anga sangamam. So we should also, as devotees, as Vaishnavas, hold each other's hands. And, because bhakti itself is like a war against Maya. Bhakti is practically a war against Maya. We are trying to go upstream, right? The current of the world is going to take us downstream in the negative direction, but we are trying to go upstream. And when we are trying to go upstream, if any of you have been in the river, a flowing river like Ganga, or like with heavy current, and if you are by yourself, guess what? I was recently in Haridwar, recently means a few months back. You can't stand over there on your own, right? Has anyone experienced that? It is a wonderful experience. One should experience. So anytime you go, the waves are so strong that Ganga is going to take you. If you are not holding someone's hand, so what they say, oh, hold someone's hand, right? Make sure, especially the kids, don't leave them alone. Make sure they have grabbed the adult's hand, or there are a lot of chains on the shore. Make sure you're grabbing that chain, otherwise you will be swept away with the current. It's so strong. So this hand chain reminds of that unity, reminds of that support, reminds of that bonding which devotees should there. Because outside world, they're not going to appreciate or be of any support in our Krishna conscious journey. Rather, they'll say, hey, give up all that. Why you waste your time in bhakti? Why you want to go to temple? Why you spend so much time there? Let's go to the movie, let's go to the club, let's go to casino, and let's go to nightclub and bars and discos, whatnot. But as Vaishnavas, we should help each other, support each other in happiness and sorrows, in ups and downs in our lives, and in whatever way we can. Vaishnav care is a big thing. It's a big topic, Vaishnav care. Physical care, mental care, bodily care, emotional care, spiritual care, most important. Different devotees go through different aspects. Someone may be going through some relationship aspect, someone may be going through some financial difficulty, someone may be going through some health difficulty, someone may be going through some mid-age crisis. Someone may be going through some old age crisis, different. Someone may be going through a newly married and they don't know how to handle things. Someone may get a new child and they don't know how to deal with this. Someone may be other, so many ways. Someone may have recently lost their job. So we should be very empathetic, caring, and most importantly, also check on spiritual well-being. How is your bhakti going? How is your chanting going? How is your reading of scriptures going on? How is your taste for reading and hearing going on? These are also important. Like how we ask Prabhuji, how is your health? Right? We ask Mataji, is your health okay? Are your kids okay? So we should also ask about how is your spiritual health going on? What are you reading or hearing these days? Not to put anyone down, but to uplift and help each other, like holding each other's hand, like embracing each other, like supporting each other. Very, very important. The gopis, they're showing by their example. Like even in Iskcon, we see that we do the kirtan this way, like hold each other's hand and dance in circles or dance in queues. It's coming from all the scriptures here. We see very, very important, very, very important. And even science, medical science has proven, like Lord Brahma and Lord Krishna also shook hands. It comes in the Bhāgavatam. There is an emotional connection when we touch. There's an emotional connection. There is a bond which strengthens. Therefore, yes, Zoom meetings are fine. Zoom meetings are okay, but whenever possible, we should meet devotees. Whenever possible, we should, embrace devotees. Of course, keeping Prabhuji, Mataji, all those, we are not transcendental. Even Lord Chaitanya was not transcendental. Or he was transcendental, but he did not show that example. But Amrish Maharaj says this, Tad Bhritya Gatra Sparsha Anga Sangamam. So touching the body of devotees, whether it's through handshake or whether it's through embrace, is a sign of Vaishnava care. It's a sign of, it's a purification. It's a sign of support. It's a sign of, it's a very healthy. And we see all, even in Iskcon, our current acharyas, our current Vartaman gurus, when Prabhupada disciples, they meet each other, they embrace, right? We have seen that so many times. They're showing by their example. Right? So support is very nice. Now, good support, everything is good. But one thing they did not forget, why were they there? It reminds me of the story of Krishna and his friend, Sudama. The Guru sent them to get some firewood. And it was raining. It was dark night, it was raining. And they held each other's hand to support each other. But while holding each other's hand, they did not forget the mission of the Guru, which was to get firewood. So, support is very nice. But at the same time, you have to nicely balance with what is this support for? To help each other in Krishna consciousness. That's the foundation of the support. Sometimes, so you see, the mission or the relationship, you have to nicely balance, even in a family, even in any aspect of life. All this balance is always required. So the support, the care, the everything is to help each other to blossom in bhakti. And that's what they were doing. They were absorbed in Krishna. They were singing glories of Krishna while going to the river Kalindi or Yamuna. So they were not wasting time, not talking, hey, what sari you wore? Hey, what color of, gopi skirt you wore? Where did you get your gopi skirt from? Oh, I like your embroidery very much. And then time is gone, right? They were talking about Krishna. Majjata madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Whenever great souls come, whenever Mahatmas come, whenever gopis come, they are always thinking about Krishna. Fully Krishna conscious, we read already. If one thing is fully preoccupied in their mind, how can this talk of anything else? Right? We speak what is going on in our mind. Right? Is it not? If I meet someone, what's the most natural thing I'm going to talk about? What's going on in my mind, right? Or they'll start the conversation what's going on in their mind. All the gopis, ekena manasa, one pointed attention, Krishna. They're all like-minded, just thinking about Krishna. Therefore, they're talking about Krishna. Very important lesson again. Not wasting time. Okay, I'll take a quick pause. Anyone has any thoughts, comments here? Any questions, additions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just wanted to say very quickly about not wasting time. I actually feel somewhat painful when I'm not like chanting or doing something for Krishna. I actually feel like like you're sitting in a waiting room or something, or you're like waiting for like a really, like if you're at a restaurant and it's taking forever for the food to get there and you're starting to get like almost like not upset but like a little annoyed, like where is the food? It should have been here an hour ago. Like when something comes up, I just feel that time going by. So I can feel the time going by. It's going by so slow. But then, like for example, at Ratha Yatra, like we were going up and down the beach for 2 hours, doing kirtan, and it seemed like over in like the blink of an eye. It was like a dream, and so it was so fast. And so yeah, that seems to be a good barometer for me. Like if something's going by really slow and I'm like, then I'm probably in I consciousness. But if something's going by really blissfully fast, then I'm probably in Krishna consciousness or trending that way. And yeah, whenever I feel myself getting sort of almost stuck in the mud or something of materialism, then I just immediately like remember like, oh, I know why I'm feeling like this. And I just start chanting. Hare Krishna.
Well, that's a wonderful sign of your progressive interest in bhakti, and that's a very healthy and good sign, Prabhu. Materialist, 10-minute Bhagavad Gita class seems to be like 10 hours. 10 hours video games and movies and whatnot seems to be them 10 minutes. For spiritualist, as you said, 5-6 hours of Rath Yatra seems to be like 5-6 minutes. And 5-6 minutes of sense gratification or time waster seems to be like 5-6 hours. So it's all what is in our heart and mind. Thank you for your realizations. Any quick thoughts before we wrap up for today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandapranam. Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm very, very inspired by all you said, and really inspired by Philip Prabhu. Prabhuji is amazing. He came for seva on that day almost until midnight. He did seva, and also in Rath Yatra. Everywhere, Prabhuji, even though he recently started, he's amazing and he is inspiring us all, Prabhuji, and especially for me. Thank you so much, Philip Prabhu, for your wonderful association.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavata. I'm simply at the mercy of those who are guiding me and helping me, and you are also merciful. And as my bhakti deepens, everyone who helps me, and this is how it's like a reverberating sort of. It's a fire that never goes out. It just keeps getting higher and higher as each heart, becomes more aflame with the love of Krishna and his service, and it's intoxicating spiritually, not intoxicating materially. And so yeah, I can't seem to think of anything else other than Krishna, and that's all because you all have been so merciful and gracious and patient with me. So thank you. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Wow, that's very inspiring. We are waiting for your article from TV to TV.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. I have an outline. Now that I have the TV stand in the room, I think now I can maybe write the article. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
We'll add this picture, right? So this is Philip Prabhu's. So prior to this, there was a TV here, a big TV, television. But now he has put Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, and this is the Guru Parampara altar. So this is Krishna consciousness. And he got a very nice lamination on Rath Yatra. For the verse he has memorized, the Varapidam verse, which this picture just kind of puts that verse into a picture form, and he has already memorized it. So this is very inspiring by your sincerity, by your example, and by your actions, right? Easy is to speak, oh, big things, like, oh, I just speak big things, but you are doing, and guess what? So he sold that TV, and he is using that amount to go to Sadhu Sangha, right? This is a big, I mean, it's a big thing. Just to think of that is a very great sign of surrender. So thank you for your glorious example, through your words, through your actions, through your behavior, and through your intentions. Everything is very well in harmony in Krishna consciousness. So we are very glad to have your association, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, and all that I don't know, and you all have so much to teach, and it's so beautiful. So everything that I don't know yet, all the ways, even etiquette and certain things about philosophy, I look forward to learning, and I hope you look forward to teaching. Hare Krishna.
Hari. In bhakti, one does not become sincere just because they came to Krishna consciousness prior to, someone that's not a criteria of seniority. Theoretically, maybe, right? Because they may have read more verses, they may have attended more classes or whatnot. But the real criteria for sincerity and seniority is one who has more attachment to Krishna. And in that way, Prabhu, you are very, very advanced than me. So I look forward to learning from you and your example. So thank you so much. Okay, then we will pause here and continue tomorrow with the next verse. Thank you so much for all of your association. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktarinda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada.